Congratulations on the brand new single. Here on the station, we added Salty Days to the playlist very, very quickly because we know that our listeners have loved your last two singles. So tell us a little bit about Salty Days and how this song came about.
Mate, well, that's good news that people are liking it. Mate, Salty Days, it's a song I've probably had for about 5 or 6 years that I've been playing with in various different sort of instruments and genres and energy and that kind of thing. But yeah, Salty Days, mate. It's my energy song, really. It takes me straight to a mental escape of a daydream of throwing the boards in the car, throwing some food in the car, getting some mates, going off on a surf road trip for a few days and getting salty and sunburnt and sleeping with some sunburnt skin in a tent or a cheap hotel or something. Yeah, mate. It's an escape for me. It's almost like a meditation.
Yeah.
Where it starts slow and then it builds right up to almost just a jam out sort of party at the end. Yeah.
Was it written after a surf adventure, or was it written at the beach? Like, it's got that real feel to it. Where do you remember back to where you wrote it?
Not really. No, not really. I can't actually put my finger on when I started writing this song. It's got components in it that constantly sort of evolved from this first acoustic, just stompy acoustic sort of song that I'd play when I come home from work and I'm ready to go to the beach, and that would kind of fire me up to go. But then, yeah, when we started sort of laying some extra layers and stuff in the studio, that's when it really started to beef up and add a little bit more grit and distortion, and then the drums came into it and all the extra vocals and it's really, I can't put my finger on it, sorry mate,
Yeah, no, that's all right. Now, I love the fact that you're influenced by artists like Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, right through to like John Butler and Pete Murray. Did you come from a very musical family? Like, was there always music in your family when you were young?
My family is like a performance kind of family. They love, like my grandparents and my parents, they were always in some sort of choir or theatrical play or something like that. My grandfather was almost an embodiment of that sort of Johnny Cash persona. He was a big sort of a big, powerful energy sort of personality, and that kind of got passed down to my dad. And then, I like to think that I, have a bit of energy and a bit of charisma, and that's kind of I kind of like people like Elvis, Johnny Cash, and Neil Diamond. They have that kind of charisma and wit and a bit of cheekiness about them. But then even like John Butler, you can see it in John Butler. He's a bit cheeky. Ben Harper, that kind of deal, yeah.
So, when did you discover that you had the musical bug as well? Like, did you start playing instruments from a very early age?
Yeah, my dad had this old acoustic guitar, and he knew a couple of chords on it, so I'll give him that. But he had this old acoustic guitar, and I was probably only like 7 or 8, and I've grabbed it out, and I've gone and found all my favourite stickers without telling him, and I've covered his guitar in stickers, and he's found out, and he's thought, okay, well, I guess it's yours now. I don't want this guitar covered in little star and smiley stickers. And so they gave me the guitar. They got me some lessons, and I basically started sort of playing around with the guitar, even just pretending like I could play it as a kid, And then I hit high school, and that was kind of my sort of Jack Johnson, John Butler, Xavier Rudd kind of era, and that's when I really started to get into playing the Jack Johnson and Ben Harper, and then I started to find a bit more of a love of going back a little bit and sort of playing some James Taylor and some Neil Young and some finger picky sort of style. It just always kind of changed, really. Like as I got older, I wanted to throw a bit more sort of energy in it, but then maybe I want to slow down in life a bit, and I start going acoustic and slow and plucky and singing like more of an emotional acoustic banger kind of style. Just really the songs and my own sort of songs and stuff are just evolving with just general life. Really, it's kind of almost like a diary on my guitar. Yeah,
definitely. Well, mate, you are creating some absolutely amazing tracks, and like I said, we are loving Salty Days. And the great news for our listeners out there is you've got an EP on the way, I understand.
Yeah, mate. At the end of this year, so I've been recording in Hercules Street Studios over the sort of COVID period with a guy called Tim McGrath from Pale Blue Dot Recording Company. So we've recorded 2 songs already. We did that early this year. We've got 3 songs that we're about to jump in the studio in the next couple of weeks. Current lockdown is affecting that, so they might get postponed. But we've got 5 songs on the way. It should be dropping around November, December, hopefully. I'd like to get it just before summer if I can, because Salty Days is going to be on that track. So, I really want to get that out right before the Australian summer.
Yeah.
Give Salty Days the second run. And then, show a little bit more of the song bank that I have ready to sort of put out there with 4 new songs in that EP.
So, Melbourne artists went through this last year. How difficult is it to record an album or an EP during a pandemic lockdown? Because I know a lot of Melbourne artists here gave up recording last year and just concentrated on songwriting. So, what's that process been like for you so far?
It's kind of really all I really know at the moment, because I only started recording about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So I was recording with Billy Otto down in Maroubra, just around the corner from where I live, and that's when the pandemic hit. Right as we'd finished my first song, Save Me, and then released the second one, Moving On. Billy moved up to Byron, and the world kind of shut down. It was a bit of an odd time for me, because I did have a job that I could still go to, so I was still able to fund a bit of studio time, and the studio's not that far from me, so we found a way to find some essential reason to go in there and get some songs laid down and hang out and hide in the studio. It affected me a bit, but it was a good experience, because it gave me a bit of time off work to spend on my music, which I didn't really have before. And so that kind of COVID slowdown, shutdown kind of period, and most people have been sort of as well just been assessing how much time you spend on things. I was able to minimise a little bit of work and focus a bit more on music, and I'm starting to see a little bit of the reward out of spending a bit more time on the music.
Yeah. And you mentioned before you've been recording with Tim McCartney as well. Tell us a little bit about Tim and what he's brought to your music, because he's worked with some pretty heavyweights in the Australian music scene. Yeah,
Tim's great. I met Tim 7 or 8 months ago, and we clicked straight away. We went to a pub. It was the first beer I'd actually had since COVID closure. It was quite an odd feeling going in having a beer for the first time after 9 months. Tim was great. We went and we had a chat. He's really good with letting me be creative and find my sound in the studio. The studio that we're recording is great. There's heaps of instruments as well. So I'll just be sort of playing something, and Tim will pick up a different instrument, come over, put it in my lap, and go, "Here you go, have a play with this." And then we just sort of start recording, and he's really helping me grow as a musician and have some sort of say and direction on where we're going, but still really good at guiding me. He's been absolutely fantastic.
Awesome. Well, Tom, we're going to play Salty Days now. We cannot wait to hear this new EP from you. We'll be counting down the days once you announce when it's coming out. But for now, we're going to play Salty Days. So what would you like to say to all of our listeners out there before they take a listen to this amazing track?
I just really hope that everyone enjoys it. I'm really stoked that people so far are liking it. It's very motivating for me to keep writing music and getting it out there. And I just really hope that people find some sort of connection with this song and share it around. it's a bit of an escape during a cold time of the year. Something to look forward to in summer. I just really hope everyone enjoys it, and I'm glad it's going well.
Definitely. Well, mate, thank you so much for coming on our show today. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, and hopefully one day we even get to see you do some shows down here in Melbourne, because that would be fantastic.
Oh, mate, I hope so. And I really appreciate the call, Dave. It's been an exciting week for me. I really